An unsettling 2017 video has resurfaced by Fox News showing the owner of ScubaToys, the dive shop connected with the recent death of 12-year-old Dylan Harrison, seemingly admitting that multiple people had died under the shop's instruction and that it was treated as if it was no big deal. In the footage, the owner, Joe Johnson, is heard saying,
"All I know is we've killed, what, 4 people? 5 people? We've never even done a deposition. Our insurance company just sucks." John Witherspoon said we can kill 2 people a year and we fine.
His wife, Sandy Johnson, protests.
We don't want that.
Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
A former instructor at the dive shop recorded the meeting after becoming alarmed at how instruction standards were being discussed. That instructor handed the full video to 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐽 and other parties, but the certification agency reportedly deemed the footage as not actionable. The video comes in the wake of Dylan's tragic death during a certification class at the shop. One longtime dive instructor and safety expert, John Banks, says Dylan's death, quote, "should never have happened," noting that no one under the age of 15 should ever be left alone in the water under instruction. Banks also voiced concern over how the diving instruction world is largely self-regulated, allowing standards to slip unless stricter oversight is enforced. In a quote, "safety can't be something calculated based on profit and loss reports." Meanwhile, investigators from the Texas Rangers are now assisting in the case, and the 2017 video has been handed over to law enforcement. An apparently delayed response to a diving emergency, buddying up of 2 12-year-old trainees in poor visibility, a dive master's lost computer, and mixed messages on whether the case was open or closed. More information is emerging about the circumstances surrounding the death of 12-year-old Dylan Harrison during a certification dive in a Texas lake 2 months ago. Fox News, who broke the story, has spoken to the scuba instructor trainer it says organized the impromptu search and recovery operation for the girl, whilst the dive professional who had led the fatal dive, instructor William Armstrong, who is also a serving deputy sheriff, remained apparently frozen in the moment. International Scuba Dive School owner Richard Thomas from Carrollton had been training instructors at the Scuba Ranch Lake in Terrell on the morning of the 16th of August when informed that a young diver had gone missing. He told his kitted up instructors to start searching whilst he went to a nearby dive center to find out more. In a quote, "when I arrived, no one was doing anything," he told Fox News, further stating they were all standing shell-shocked. "I asked, who is the instructor here? Is there a professional here?" And no one responded until Armstrong's wife eventually pointed out her husband, who, according to Thomas, must have been out of the water for some time because he was, quote, "bone dry." Thomas asked Armstrong for information to assist with the search and, quote, "he started telling me I didn't do anything wrong. It was very difficult to get any information out of him." Thomas says that one of his divers managed to locate Dylan at a depth of about 13 meters within only 7 minutes of starting the search. Quoting, "7 minutes is the time people are able to be brought back from a drowning, potentially," commented Thomas, suggesting that a more immediate response may have changed the outcome. Thomas accompanied the Harrison family to the hospital, but said that when he had tried to share his concerns about the incident with the local Kaufman County Sheriff's Office, he was told that the investigation was closed. Ross Neal, an instructor trainer, commented that although Dylan had been part of a group of 8 students with 2 dive professionals, met official certification standards, which allow up to 10 trainees, Dylan had been diving in poor visibility rather than blue water, which needed to be taken into account. She had also been buddied with another 12-year-old on the dive, though her parents had reportedly understood that she would be paired up with a dive master. The certification dive had been organised by dive store ScubaToys.com. In an update shortly after this, David Concannon, the lawyer representing Dylan Harrison's family, posted on social media, quote, 1 hour and 37 minutes. That's how long it took from the time 12-year-old Dylan Harrison was declared dead until the Kaufman County Sheriff's Office called her parents to tell them that they were closing the investigation into their daughter's death. Dylan's bathing suit wasn't even dry yet. That's why I was contacted, and that's why I agreed to help this family find out what happened to their daughter and why. Challenge accepted. William Armstrong, who works in a sheriff's office in another county, dive master Jonathan Roussel, Dylan Harrison, and another unnamed student were all said to have been wearing dive computers when the incident occurred. DiverNet has learnt that at the end of September, well-known US dive fatality lawyer David Concannon contacted the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office as the Harrison family's legal representative to inquire about data downloads from these computers. Concerned divers had been sending Concannon unsolicited copies of the Sheriff's Office, quote, call for service outlined report on the fatal incident, availability of which to the public seemed to indicate that its official status was closed by other means. The lawyer wanted to know why the investigation had been closed, if the dive computer data had yet to be analysed, and if it was closed, when Dylan's computer would be returned to the Harrisons. Sheriff Brian Beavers told Concannon that the girl's death remained part of an open criminal investigation, with officers following, quote, all available evidence in coordination with the district attorney's office, which was why details could not be disclosed. An inspector from the Criminal Investigations Division followed up to explain that although the case had previously been shown to be closed, it was still being investigated pending data and full medical documentation. Dylan's dive computer was to be downloaded by the Dallas Police Department's dive team because the county lacked the necessary resources. However, he added that after being in contact with Armstrong and Roussel, no data is to be recovered. Aware that recovering data from dive computers is standard practice in such cases, Concannon questioned this, pointing out that the process was straightforward, with manufacturers willing to carry it out on behalf of investigators if requested. It was highly unlikely that the data on both computers could have been corrupted, especially given the instructor's standing in as both a dive professional and a law enforcement officer. When interviewed by Concannon's investigator, a former FBI dive team leader, Dive Master Roussel said that he had tried but failed to download the data from his dive computer and had since lost it in a lake which is 27 meters deep. As Concannon pointed out to the Sheriff's Office, Roussel's professional liability insurer and certification agency would have requested that he submit his dive profiles in a written report within 24 hours of any fatal incident. In a quote, "In the 200+ underwater fatality investigations I have been involved with since downloadable dive computers first came on the market, I have never seen a dive computer with exculpatory evidence stored on it become lost." Further quoting, "I have seen multiple instances where the dive computers were stolen from bodies before the authorities arrived, not downloaded, or the data was intentionally erased or corrupted, but never when the data would have corroborated someone's account of what happened. As the investigation deepens, questions continue to mount about accountability within the scuba training industry and the culture of complacency that may have contributed to Dylan Harris's death. For Dylan's family and for many watching the case unfold, the hope is that her loss will finally bring long overdue scrutiny to the standards meant to keep divers safe.